Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Respected my lecturer, M.Pd Handayani, and all my dear friends. Now, I'm Ade Sepiani from Class 1C would like to tell you a story entitled The Legend of Batu Kuwung. Once upon a time, in a village on the island of Banten, during the time of Sultan Haji, there was lived a young man. He had a close relationship with the Sultan, and of course, because of that, he got some benefits. One of which that he got the right to monopolize the coffee and paper trade in the Lampung area. This made his business grow rapidly, and he became a rich young man, respected by all peoples in a short period of time. He also owns almost all the agricultural land in his village. However, the way to get the agricultural land is not that good. He got it by giving loans to farmers at high interest. Farmers found it difficult to pay their debt and inevitably had to give up their land. Not long after that, the rich young man was appointed village head. When he became village head, he did not make his residents prosperous and happy, but instead tortured them even more. He abused his power by making it a policy to pay higher taxes than he should. This rich young man became very arrogant because of the wealth and power he had. Apart from being famous for his arrogant nature, this rich young man also had a greedy nature. He never wanted to help his citizens who were experiencing difficulties. He preferred to waste his money and live a life full of splendor over the difficulties faced by his people. He doesn't even want to get married. According to him, getting married and having children would waste his money. Because of his character, all the residents hated him very much. Realizing this, the rich young man hired several personal guards so that no resident would dare disturb him. This rich young man's greed and arrogance reached the ears of a witch. The witch planned to teach the rich young man a lesson. One day, the witch turned into a crippled beggar and came to the rich young man. "Oh, young master, may I ask for food and clothes because I haven't eaten since 2 days ago?" Instead of giving her food and clothes, this rich young man pushed the beggar to the ground and threw her out. "Hey you, the ugly old woman! Get out of my house, you disgusting person!" he screamed. Brave and angry, the beggar cursed the rich young man, wishing that he would fall into poverty. The rich young man didn't care what the beggar said and just left her. On the next day, the rich young man woke up from his sleep with his leg paralyzed. He tried many times to move his legs, but it was useless, but he still couldn't move them. This rich young man immediately summoned his personal guard in panic. "God, help me! My legs feel numb! Quickly call all the physicians! Arr!" he screamed. On that day, all the physicians from all corners of the area gathered to treat the rich young man's leg. However, none of the physicians could cure the rich young man's leg. In the midst of despair, the crippled beggar came. The beggar said that the rich young man's illness was caused by his greedy and arrogant nature. He also said that the rich young man could recover if he was willing to carry out 3 conditions. Namely, the first was the rich young man had to change his greedy and arrogant nature. The second was that the rich young man had to go to the foot of Karang Mountain to meditate on a sunken rock for 7 days and 7 nights without eat and drink. And thirdly, the rich young man must give half his wealth to the poor after he recovers. Hearing that, the rich young man was willing to fulfill these conditions. With the help of the guard, the rich young man hurried away. Before leaving, the beggar advised him to ignore all obstacles that could toward his meditate. After giving this message, the beggar disappeared in the blink of an eye, and the rich young man realized that this beggar was not an ordinary person, but a witch. After 2 days and 2 nights of walking, they finally arrived at the foot of Karang Mountain. In that place, there is a sunken rock. The rich young man immediately ordered his guard to take him to the rock, but without realizing it, his guard had collapsed from exhaustion. Finally, the rich young man was able to reach and climb the rock and begin his meditation. After a few days later, suddenly the rock he was sitting on gave off a hot spring. The rich young man soaked there, and suddenly his leg was healed. After that incident, he turned into a kind-hearted rich young man. He distributed half his wealth to the poor. He also distributed his agricultural land to be cultivated by poor farmers. After that, he married a beautiful girl from a poor family. His attitude changed to become generous, wise in carrying out his duties and as village head, so that the residents liked him. He also told about the miracle of a hot spring, so that in a short time this miracle was known to all residents. Until now, the hot spring known as Batu Kuwung has become a quite famous tourist attraction in Banten. From this story, we learn that we as a human should not be arrogant and greedy. We must care and be kind to others. Well, that's all about my story. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.